downs and let the guys that he have on this football team operate for him and make some plays for him. So if he does that, we have a great chance of winning this game. And I want to say happy birthday to my mom, man. She passed in '96. Happy birthday, Mom.
All right. Appreciate that.
Peace.
Let's go back upstairs to Joe.
Thank you, Pam. Interesting choice on the opening coin toss. The Philadelphia Eagles won the toss, and they elect to receive. You could give consideration to taking which side of the field you want to make Warner play into the wind right out of the gate, but that's not the case. And Brian Mitchell, one of the best ever, waits for it near his goal line, and he's flipped and tripped, and he falls forward to the 19-yard line, and that's where A.J. Feely and the Philadelphia Eagle offense will go to work, and this crowd gives Feely a nice ovation. Kind of warm and Feely and warm and fuzzy for A.J. as he heads onto the field, protected by this group. Hank Fraley, they put an awful lot on their center, and the guys will talk about that during this game. In the backfield, Deuce Staley and Cecil Martin. Thrash and Pinkston on the outside. Chad Lewis, a former Ram, a very good tight end. Handoff is to Staley. He got 2. Let's look at the Rams up front. A front four that'll tell you we weren't that bad against the Washington Redskins, but the bottom line is they weren't good enough against that big offensive line and the running of Stephen Davis. The linebackers, Robert Thomas, the rookie, still learning on the job, and he will be asked to do a lot here today against the Philadelphia Eagle offense, and they're the defensive backs with Archuleta and Herring the safeties. On second down, this is Dorsey Levens. He falls forward near the 25. Third down coming up for A.J. Feely and the Eagles.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious already. You look at the first 2 play selections, running plays, that they're trying to take some of the pressure already off of A.J. Feely. They want to get him working into this offense very slowly here today, not make any mistakes. They've already instructed him, when you drop back to pass, if you don't have it, just throw it away. If we have to punt, that's not the worst thing that can happen.
On third down, Feely's first throw is complete to the tight end Lewis, and he is thrown forward to the 35 with a Philadelphia first down.
Well, the other thing that Andy Reid was telling us was that he's not changing his offense. Just like with Coy Detmer, he's simply going to let it go. He doesn't believe in running the football like a lot of teams do. He wants to play this West Coast. And when you look at the West Coast offense, it is a quick throw offense. There's Donovan McNabb enjoying the game up in the press box. But those quick throws are really more of what Feely and Detmer are all about.
First down for Philadelphia. Feely dumps it off, and he throws behind his fullback Martin. 2nd and 10. A.J. Feely, who really only played as a junior in college, made only 8 starts at Oregon. When he was a sophomore, Akili Smith was there, so he didn't play. He played as a junior, got hurt his elbow, and Joey Harrington, who was eventually a first-round draft pick of the Detroit Lions, took over and pushed Feely to the bench. Staley out, Levens in, and play action. Antonio Freeman, the throw is there right off his hands on this cold day. And what looked to be a huge gain for Philadelphia is just an incompletion.
Well, this could have been a great play right here. 86, Antonio Freeman. The ball hits him right in the hands. Great throw by A.J. Feely. And A.J. Feely knows that he missed him one primarily because the Rams were in a 2-deep coverage, and that's the weakness of that zone. Antonio got in that spot. A.J. delivered him the football, and Antonio made an uncharacteristic drop.
Now it's 3rd down and 10. They hand off to Levens. First down, midfield. To the Ram 49. Archuleta made the stop, but on 3rd and 10, a run and a 16-yard pickup by Dorsey Levens.
And I really do think this is the right game plan against the St. Louis Rams. We watched last week against the Washington Redskins, popping right off of that left side, and Big Trey Thomas. The Washington Redskins had great success running against this Rams defense. Eventually, they had to bring safeties up, and that's when Danny Werfel and company got hot throwing the football.
From the Ram 49, it's first down. Feely sets up for a throw and now dives forward. Ball came out, and the Rams have recovered. A.J. Feely with the first turnover of the day went head first. Scanina knocked it out, and the Rams take over with good field position.
And as much as anything, this just happens when a quarterback or any running back is not accustomed to taking hits, which A.J. Feely is not because he's not been playing, that you've got to be conscious of wrapping up the ball. Right there, you see that A.J. Feely has it in one arm. Defender comes in, knocks it out of his hands.
But a great break for Kurt Warner and company. Now they get the field position they were hoping for, and they are throwing with the win in this quarter.
So the first chance for Kurt Warner, who is 0-5 as a starter this season. Lamar Gordon starts at running back, and he gets it on a handoff. Lamar Gordon with a big burst. And he's brought down right at the first down marker at the Philadelphia 45. The offensive line for the St. Louis Rams. Orlando Pace with Heath Irwin in at left guard. The Rams lost Tom Newton with a broken fibula. That happened at Washington. You see the face and the name of Marshall Faulk. He did not start. He is available. With the first handoff, good for 10 yards and a first down, went to Lamar Gordon. Empty backfield behind Warner. Not anymore as Gordon goes behind him and takes it over the right side. 2-yard pickup by Gordon. Defensively for the Philadelphia Eagles, Hugh Douglas is their best pass rusher. They're getting a lot out of Darwin Walker, a former Arizona Cardinal who was released back in 2000. And the linebackers, Big Levon Kirkland in the middle. We should see some of Barry Gardner, who's faster at the middle linebacker spot. Defensive backs, Bishop and Dawkins are the safeties. Good corners, Bobby Taylor and Troy Vincent.
Over here.
Second down and 8. First throw. Isaac Bruce dropped it. Looked like he was ready to make a move up the field as he got it around Bobby Taylor, but could not come up with a catch. 3rd and 8.
Well, Kurt Warner has not taken snaps all week from the center because of the inflammation and swelling that he has in his right hand. Today's the first time that he's taken those snaps. He gets that one cleanly and comes out and delivers the football. Ball's dropped, which I think you're going to see a lot of today on that particular play. Kurt Warner dropping back 3 steps. I think they want to get him into 3- and 5-step drops and get the ball out quickly.
The Rams trying to take advantage of the turnover, have the wind at their back. Warner has time, fires, has Bruce with a catch. The reception is made. The officials get together, talk about the left foot coming down, and now they've got a penalty flag back near the line of scrimmage, and this play's coming back.
Illegal hands to the face. Number 70. Offense. 10 yards. 3rd down.
That negates a first down for the Rams at the 19-yard line.
John St. Clair on the top of your screen right there. Going to end up with the hands in the face, and it's going to get called every single time. John St. Clair last week, of course, giving up the sack to LeVar Arrington at the end of that ball game that negated any possibility of winning for Kurt Warner at the end, and despite a great drive down the field.
So that brings up 3rd down and 18, and this Rams team has been sloppy this season. 7th most penalized team in the NFL, and that one erases a first down. 3rd and 18 underneath. It's Ricky Prohl. Got a long way to go to get a first down, and he's not close. Ike Reese was there on the stop for Philadelphia, and it's time for the Rams to punt.
Well, you're not going to fare real well against this Eagle defense if you're looking at 3rd and long situations, and that's exactly what happened. They make it a big play there to Isaac Bruce, and because of the penalty to John St. Clair, they get backed up. And the good news, however, is that they're going to be able to pin the Eagles back. Mitch Berger, their punter, is 5th in the NFL in inside the 20-yard line punts.
He's done it 20 times, but there's a big weapon for the Eagles, Brian Mitchell. Returned one against the 49ers on Monday Night Football. This one takes a bounce, goes along the goal line, and it is a touchback. Nick Sorensen, it looked like, went into the end zone, touched the football, and that's the reason why this is ruled a touchback.
Once you go in the end zone, though, you can reestablish yourself back in the field of play, so I think that part of it's legal. But now you have a foot on the end line as he's touching the football, and that's the rookie, Robert Thomas. His feet dangling over that end line is why that was a touchback. What Sorensen does is perfectly legal. He reestablishes himself, bats the ball back. Now's where the Rams fall on their face right here. If Robert Thomas doesn't touch that football and just lets it die, it's going to be dead on the 1.
Instead, it's first down at the 20. Deuce Staley, nothing. Lost yardage on the play. Good push up front by Ryan Pickett. Why is A.J. Feely in at quarterback? Go back to week 11 against the Arizona Cardinals. Donovan McNabb, a broken ankle. And then last week on Monday Night Football, the dislocated left elbow suffered by Coy Detmer after putting together a terrific game, and then a nice moment when not only did his teammates come up and pat him on the back, but the 49er players did as well. Second down. Dorsey Levens back to the original line of scrimmage, and it's going to be 3rd and long.
And when you talk about these coaches and what they've had to do in order to prepare these quarterbacks and this team to get ready to play, you take a look at Brad Childress, the offensive coordinator. He also coaches quarterbacks. He's been the guy responsible in getting Coy Detmer last week ready to play. He has been tutoring A.J. Feely all week. They've been spending a lot of time at night there at the facility looking at film, going over the game plan. He's done a great job with Coy and with Donovan. We'll find out today how he's done with A.J.
3rd down and 10. Feely throws. Incomplete. Broken up by Fisher. And a good play by the rookie out of Central Florida. The ball up in the air for a long time, throwing into the wind, and Fisher could recover.
Well, they're going to start bringing some pressure now on A.J. Feely, and I don't blame them. The Rams, a team, maybe not the greatest blitz team in the world, but why not check out this young man? But the Eagles, perfect protection. There's not enough zip on the football on the outside. Timing just a little bit off.
Again, working into the wind. And Landeta gets off about as good a punt as you can, considering a line drive punt. It doesn't get hung up in the wind, and on a spiral, it's marked out of bounds just outside the Ram 40. It's a 40-yard punt, and good effort by the 40-year-old Landeta. You look at points and starts for Kurt Warner. 1999 through 2001, 20 or more points, 40 times. 1 time this season. 4 times under 20 points, including last week, a 20-17 loss, a heartbreaker for St. Louis and Washington. Marshall Faulk still not in the backfield for St. Louis. Play action from Warner. Plenty of time. Looking to get rid of it. Lost the football. And the Eagles take over. Sean Barber made the hit, and Sean Barber comes away with a football.
Well, you watch Kurt Warner, and he had some protection. The problem was he just didn't have anywhere to throw the football. The ball just comes out. Didn't look like anybody got a hand in there on it. The ball comes out. Sean Barber's going to be there to recover it.
There really was no place to throw on the play. The wideouts were covered, but it was Sean Barber who knocked off the wide receiver on the dump-off pass right over the middle that actually made that play to begin with.
From the 24-yard line, Feely back to throw into the end zone. Thrash! Touchdown! But a penalty flag. It's a hold, and it's coming back. Feely doesn't know it, but that does not count.
Illegal hands to the face. 72 offense. 10 yards, first down.
Yeah, that's just a shame right there. You take a look at Trey Thomas, and they get him right there with hands to the face, but A.J. Feely does a great job of sitting in the pocket. They got a corner route to James Thrash working against the rookie Travis Fisher, and you couldn't ask for a better throw. Thrash does a nice job of setting that route up. Unfortunately, it doesn't count.
And Travis Fisher, the young corner, is the guy they're going to pick on all day today.
First down and 20. Dorsey Levens. Gain of only 1. Let's go back out to Los Angeles and check in with JB for a game break.
So after an unsuccessful series at first and goal, Minnesota had to settle for this 29-yard field goal by Gary Anderson to tie it with Atlanta. And take a look at Drew Bledsoe, the clinching score here, intended for Eric Moe, tipped by Sam Madison. Moe still comes up with it, a 57-yard score. Buffalo sweeps Miami. Back to Joe, Troy, and Cris.
Thank you, JB. It's second down and 19 for A.J. Feely and the Eagles. Out of the backfield, that's Westbrook. It's out of his reach. Third and 19 coming up.
Well, for A.J. Feely, that was a pretty ball throwing into the wind down there, and it helps so much if you can throw a spiral on a windy day, doesn't it, Troy?
Well, it sure does, and especially when you're talking about A.J. Feely and some of his strengths. Yeah, he has not played much, but he's a big, strong guy. He's got a strong arm, and that's going to help him today, especially when he's going into the wind as he is now.
That's green.
Third down and 19. A stunt up front, and the ball is batted down. Looked like Grant Wistrom got his hand up and knocked it away. And what was for a moment sheer ecstasy for A.J. Feely in a play coming back on that illegal hands to the face is now going to turn into a fourth down and 19, and it's going to be Landeta and the punting unit coming onto the field for Philadelphia.
No, it's something of a win for the Philadelphia Eagles to just stay even during this quarter, because the St. Louis Rams now are blowing their opportunity with the wind. It's going to flip around here in 7 minutes, and they're going to have to play back into it. Always a possibility for a fake with this kind of field position.
The Eagles have to get all the way to the 14-yard line for a first down. Penalty flag on the play, and the ball takes a good Eagles bounce. And the Rams will have it inside their 5, but will check the marker. And it's an ineligible man downfield, and the Rams, I'm sure, will make Philadelphia punt it again.
Well, if there is
Ineligible man downfield, number 32 on the kick. 5-yard penalty, fourth down.
If there is one major difference between these two ball clubs, it's probably in special teams. Right now, the Philadelphia Eagles are playing awfully well. John Harbaugh and his special teams, and the St. Louis Rams, conversely, have been struggling of late.
Heard that reaction from this crowd to the Giants score. They lost in overtime, I'm told, is an end-over-end punt. Will take a bounce. Still a good effort by Sean Landeta. And he is quite a weapon on a day like this. The Rams will have it a first down just outside their own 15. And Gordon goes back to work. We go back to JB in Los Angeles for another game break.
All right, Joe, with a touchdown with under 10 seconds left, Tennessee pushed it into overtime with a 2-point conversion against the Giants and win it with that Joe Nedley 38-yard field goal. It is now 3 consecutive wins by the Titans over the Giants. Back to Joe, Troy, Cris, and Pam.
JB, thanks. Now a 500 record. Philadelphia easily in charge in the NFC East, coming in at 8-3. Warner hangs on to it and now gets rid of it to Lamar Gordon. It's an incomplete pass. A late whistle, but that ball clearly bounced into the arms of Lamar Gordon.
And it looks like Hugh Douglas got a little bit shaken up on the play. He's the one who got in there on Kurt Warner. He's going to go ahead and stay in the game, but it looked like he was shaken up on the play. As you see, he's going to come in from your left right there on a bull rush on Orlando Pace, and is able to get his hands on Kurt Warner and disrupt the play.
And I haven't seen Kurt Warner hold on to the football quite like this in a long time. It looks like the Eagles' plan is to take away the quick throws.
Late defensive substitution for Philadelphia. A fake toss and a handoff to Ernie Conwell running left. Nice gain on second down, short of a first down. Conwell got 8.
And I think right now Mike Martz is just trying to do anything that he can do. You see a lot of different personnel packages, substitutions. He's trying to keep this Eagles defense on their heels, to keep them from going after Kurt Warner in the passing game. That's why you're seeing some of the plays that you're seeing right now, trying to slow him down and keep him guessing a little bit.
Mike Martz said you change personnel groups and protections every play. Try to slow down the Eagles. That throw is complete to Torrey Holt. A move and out of bounds at the 35. Let's talk about Kurt Warner and about that hand. So much has been made about the injury to Kurt Warner, and now Kurt Warner, for the first time in his NFL career, has had really the town turn against him. I know that's the way he feels about St. Louis, about the media, that they're piling on, that the media doesn't understand, and they're sending the wrong message to the fans in St. Louis. But if year after year you're talking about a hand injury to a guy that throws a football for a living, it's a concern, and it is at least that for Kurt Warner in St. Louis. Draw play, that's Lamar Gordon. He gets up near the 39-yard line.
Well, there's two levels here. First of all, Kurt Warner, for the first time since he joined the St. Louis Rams, is experiencing some adversity. And how he handles that.
Here's some adversity if Orlando Pace, who grabs his right hamstring, can't continue. They're already thin on the offensive line. And Pace is going to have to come out for at least one play.
Well, I tell you what, that's just a huge injury. If he can't come back, they've already lost Tom Newton. He's on IR off an injury from last week. Now Orlando Pace, that would be the entire left side of this offensive line, and that is the strength of this football team. Like sort of a delay blitz. He comes in and blocks on Brian Dawkins, and then you can see him just coming out of the pile limping. Well, he had the calf injury earlier this year, missed 2 or 3 games, and now St. Clair working over here against Hugh Douglas. That's a pretty tough matchup for St. Clair.
Andy King doesn't even put his mouthpiece in. Just added to the active roster. He takes over at right tackle, and John St. Clair flips to the other side. 2nd down and 7, and they run to St. Clair's side and get nothing. Lamar Gordon, Carlos Emmons, a good play, and 3rd and long coming up for St. Louis as Gordon just got back to the line of scrimmage.
You got Torrey Holt, 81, who's going to try to get the block here on Carlos Emmons, and he's trying to shield him, but he overplays it. He gets to the outside thinking the ball carrier Lamar Gordon was already to his outside. He's not. Carlos Emmons is able to come up inside and make that play.
He can try it the next 100 times. He's never going to block Carlos Emmons. No way.
3rd down and 7. Warner throws, and he's got Holt on a beautiful throw and catch, and a 1st down at the Philadelphia 45-yard line.
He's saying, now see, you don't want to have me blocking linebackers. This is what you want me to do. Go ahead, let me run this slant pattern in here and give me a chance to win the football game. Nice tight throw by Kurt Warner. Torrey Holt with a quick move working against Al Harris, who's Terrell Owens' best friend, according to the halftime feature I saw last week.
1st down, St. Louis, Philadelphia 45-yard line. That's Gordon. And one thing the Rams told us is they will continue to try to run the ball, even if they have some negative runs, to try to slow down the blitzing of this Philadelphia defense.
Well, and that's what they have to do. There's no doubt about that. And the other thing is, too, the matchups that you're going to have on the outside with these receivers against these DBs. This Philadelphia Eagle defensive secondary, they have played better when they've played bigger receivers. When you talk about Terrell Owens, the job they did against him last week, Keyshawn Johnson, the problems they've had when they've played smaller, quicker guys like Marvin Harrison with Indianapolis. And now today, they've got a group of receivers that are as quick and as fast as anybody in the league, and that creates some problems for this Eagles secondary.
You look at Jim Johnson, who is, in a way, what Martz got a reputation for an offense, and that is sometimes he'll show you something defensively that you've never seen before. And now, with Orlando Pace not in the lineup for St. Louis, the Philadelphia defense, which comes in 5th in the NFL, has got to smell blood and come after Kurt Warner even more.
Yeah, I would think so. talking with Troy Vincent, I thought he was really honest with us, talking about the matchup. Troy, what you were talking about was he just said, hey, we don't match up with these guys. We're not going to go out there and try and play bump and run and man-to-man defense. That's not what we do best against the St. Louis Rams. These two guys, obviously, two absolutely best in the business.
Now, the one thing Isaac Bruce did tell us is that he will know at all times where Brian Dawkins is. Brian Dawkins is a safety for this Eagles defense, and he's as tough as there is in the game. And Isaac Bruce said, every time I get out in alignment, I will know exactly where number 20 is on the field.
Rams have to use an early timeout as a play clock was winding down prior to the last play. It's 2nd down and 2. That's Gordon. And Lamar Gordon lost a yard.
Well, you think Mike Martz likes Lamar Gordon, though? Last night we were talking with him, and he said, this guy is just exceptional. He thinks one day he will be a premier back in the league. And we kind of looked at him like, oh, really? And he stuck to it. He said, I'm not backing off of that statement. You watch him practice. You watch the way he runs routes. You watch the way he blocks. This guy is the complete package.
Rams could be in 2-down territory as they face 3rd and a long 2. Warner dumps it off, incomplete. Ricky Prohl looking for a flag, and he won't get it with Bobby Taylor defending. And now we'll see if it is indeed 2-down territory, if the Rams are going to go for it on 4th down or punt.
Well, and here's some of the pressure that Kurt Warner is going to be seeing all day long. Right there, N.D. Kalu coming off the corner, and Bobby Taylor, he was in motion with Isaac Bruce, but they had to run a switch because of a pick play that they had. So he gets off of Isaac Bruce, picks up Ricky Prohl, winds up making a heck of a play.
Well, special teams has been a problem for the Rams all year, and it continues here. As they were late getting the field goal unit on, Wilkins didn't have his holder, Ricky Prohl, on the field. And on a drive here in the first quarter with 2:13 remaining, the Rams, who do this more than any team in the NFL, have to burn another timeout. Let's go back to Los Angeles.
I think that's the same highlight we see each and every week. Michael Vick running around the field and making plays, and I know we get a chance to watch him next week. I'm excited about that one.
And we requested that opportunity. I think it's the only time all year we said, you know, we haven't had a chance to see Michael Vick. Would you guys mind if we go down to Tampa and watch him play?
This would be the longest of the season for Wilkins with the win. Still short. And the Philadelphia Eagles will take over with great field position. So it wasn't 2-down territory. They didn't go for the 1st down. They didn't punt it. They ran Wilkins out onto the field, and with the wind, Wilkins comes up a few yards short.
Well, this one didn't have much of a chance. You're right. And the biggest thing is not so much that they tried to make the kick, but now the fact that they missed it, they give this Eagle offense tremendous field position. They're going to start out now on the 45-yard line.
And it's not an outrageous decision to let Wilkins try that when he's had a 57-yarder in his career. But my guess is that was probably in a dome and not in the cold weather in Philadelphia.
So starting from their own 45 are the Eagles with no score. Feely airs it out, and Thrash is overthrown. Let's go down to Pam Oliver.
All right, Joe. Orlando Pace up on the Rams sideline trying to shake things off. He's got a right hamstring strain. His return is questionable. Back to you, Joe.
All right, Pam. So again, that's something that'll play out the rest of the day with losing the left side of the offensive line. Newton first, and now Orlando Pace. For how long, we don't know. But when you're trying to protect Kurt Warner, who is slowed by an injured throwing hand, that's bad news for St. Louis. 2nd down and 10, and Feely is sacked. Grant Wistrom.
Well, Grant Wistrom told us yesterday that it would be difficult for him to use a speed rush around the outside of Trey Thomas, but that's exactly what he does right here. He just comes right around the edge and gets the A.J. Feely. That was awfully easy for Grant Wistrom.
We'd like to welcome those of you watching other games around the NFL. 1:50 and counting here in the first quarter. 3rd down and 17. Each side has had a turnover today. And what shapes up is a must-win for St. Louis. Draw play, and Dorsey Levens brought down well short of first down yardage. Travis Fisher made the tackle, and the Eagles will have to punt.
Anytime the Rams go in to their 4-1-6 defense, where Adam Archuleta is essentially a linebacker, it's because the Philadelphia Eagles are in 3 wideouts. There he is right there. And one of the things Andy Reid would love to do today is to get some big bodies on him. Says he's tremendous coming up, sneaking up from the safety position. But if we can ever get an offensive lineman on him, we might be able to run it right down their throats.
Another good punt by Landeta. Wilkins. He called for a fair catch and then took off, and that's a penalty.
He just forgot. I haven't seen that too many times. I forgot I waved my hand in the air. Oh, well, no. He's going to bluff one.
Invalid fair catch signal, number 82 of the receiving team. 5-yard penalty, first down, timeout.
Well, it has just been a comedy of errors on special teams for the Rams this season. That has continued today at the vet. No score. Happy holidays. Come on, Troy. Happy holidays.
Did you get your shopping done this weekend, Joe?
I have not done any shopping whatsoever. How about you?
I made one attempt Friday. Never again. Never again the day after Thanksgiving.
No, come on. That's a rookie mistake. 58 seconds left in the first quarter. Play action, and Warner tries to dump it to Lamar Gordon, and he's short with it. The Rams are indeed still alive. Right now on the outside looking in. The Atlanta Falcons, the red-hot Atlanta Falcons, in a good spot in the wild card chase, and they are in the second-place position in the South behind Tampa Bay, and those two will hook up next week on Fox, and it'll be fun to watch Mike Vick take on that Tampa Bay defense. Second down and 10, and Marshall Faulk is in the lineup and in motion. First look at Faulk today, and Marshall picks his way as the ball pops out. They're going to say Faulk was down, and it stays with St. Louis. Levon Kirkland on the stop, a gain of 5 on the play, and they're calling down by contact on what the Philly fans thought was a fumble.
I know that I heard the whistle about 7 seconds after the ball popped out down there, and I know they don't use the whistles quite as much as they sometimes would, but I don't know about that one. Looked like he was sitting on top of the pile and had the ball stripped.
Third down and 5. Hugh Douglas off the edge, almost got to Warner. Bobby Taylor. Touchdown, Eagles.
Well, that's what this Eagles defense has had to do. They have to create turnovers. They only rush 3 people. Kurt Warner does not see Bobby Taylor in the zone coverage come underneath that route. Interception, touchdown.
Troy, they're just taking away all the short throws from Kurt Warner. They're essentially saying, we're daring you to throw the football down the field, and the Rams can't get it done.
Some Jim Johnson points. The coordinator for this very good Eagle defense. 7-0 Philadelphia. Bobby Taylor gets the interception, his 3rd of the season, his first touchdown. And the Eagles strike first, and how do they do it on defense? This kickoff by Akers hangs up, and Wilkins takes it from outside the 20. And the Rams will have good field position with 4 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Back to work, the Eagle defense, 5th best in the NFL, and a tough match for the Rams today. Boathouse Row on the Schuylkill River.
There you go.
Why not?
Kind of pretty.
Good time of year for a little sculling. First down for the Rams with 4 seconds left in the quarter. Warner setting up a screen. Marshall Faulk up to the 49-yard line, and that will do it for the first quarter. The St. Louis Rams have had more returns against their offense for touchdowns than any team in the NFL. It's happened for the 8th time here today. That by Taylor. 7-0. Back after this. A defensive touchdown for the Eagles, and we begin the second quarter with Philadelphia up 7-0. Andy King is in at right tackle for St. Louis. An injury, right hamstring injury to Orlando Pace. John St. Clair on the left side. And on second down and a couple, Marshall Faulk loses yardage. Loss of 1 on the play. Third down coming up for the Rams.
Let's go back to the touchdown by Taylor. Indy Kalu is going to be the spy right in the middle of the field. He's going to take away Marshall Faulk. This is what the Eagles have been doing all day, taking away the underneath stuff.
When you see the pressure on Kurt Warner, which makes him hang on to the ball, here's Bobby Taylor right here. He's going to undercut it. Kurt Warner never sees him. And, Joe, you talked about the touchdown returns that the Rams have had against them. That is only the 9th interception that this Eagles defense has had. Came at a great time in this ball game.
So now Warner has thrown 3 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Blaine Bishop is hurt and getting tended to. And the Rams quarterback, his confidence is shaken. Third down when we come back.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Wrangler. Real, comfortable jeans. By Toyota, get the feeling. By Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, in theaters December 18th, rated PG-13. And by Siebel Systems. Good service is good business.
Well, our camera crew is bundled up. Don't worry about them. They're not dangerous. They're just trying to stay warm. It is a cold evening here in Philadelphia. We said, what, 23 degrees with the wind chill, and the wind is howling down on that field. The Rams are playing into the wind and facing a 3rd and 3. Blaine Bishop replaced by Michael Lewis at the strong safety spot. Eagles are showing blitz, and they come. Handoff to Marshall Faulk. Loses yardage for the 2nd consecutive play, and it's time for the Rams to punt. A loss of 2. Let's go to Los Angeles. Another game break with JB.
And another strong day for Priest Holmes. The NFL's leading rusher had 2 rushing touchdowns today. He's got 22 on the season, 4 shy of Marshall Faulk's NFL record. Back to Joe, Troy, Chris, and Pam.
You get a look at Bishop going up the tunnel.
That is not John Wayne, by the way.
Andy Reid said he'd be about 6'6" if they straighten out his legs. He is bow-legged and banged up. Penalty flag on the punt by Berger. A line drive to Mitchell. Lost the football. Remember, a flag down on the play. The Rams fall on top of the football. But this play's coming back. The penalty is against St. Louis. So while they pile on and now peel off that pile, the indication is the Rams have the ball, but Bob McElwee has been completely ignored by his fellow officials.
Bob's trying to get the guy's attention. Somebody might lose a limb down on the bottom of that pile, and Bob's saying it doesn't matter anyway, guys. Get up. Come on.
Still trying to get him back there.
So they call it a legal motion. I don't know if he said 58, which would be Don Davis. Sounded like a number that started in the 50s. But whoever it's on, it negates a turnover. That is Don Davis moving up with the snap. And clear was the call from Bob McElwee. That's why it's coming back, and the Rams have to punt it again.
Troy, your early impressions of Kurt Warner, how much do you think the injury is a factor?
Well, I think it is a factor, and I think it's the last thing Kurt wants to admit to, but we saw him yesterday, and he wouldn't even shake hands with us with his right hand. I think that right there told us it was still bothering him, and the fact that he didn't take snaps all week. So clearly it's having an impact.
The only guy that shook his right hand was his coach, Mike Martz. The rest of us are shaking his left hand. Mike Martz comes in, hey, Kurt, how you doing?
Berger, a high hanging punt right into the wind. And a fair catch called for by Brian Mitchell. Chris, you're used to guys not shaking your hand, but Troy, for you, it was something new.
It was new for me, yeah.
I
didn't like it.
Everybody is bundled up on a night like this. The sun is set. Temperature continues to fall. One of the 99 balloons that Nana once sang about. And it's first down for the Philadelphia Eagles. Up by 7. 7-zip for the 8-3 Eagles. A.J. Feely throws. Todd Pinkston with a catch. And a first down for Philadelphia up at the 35-yard line. So here we go. We've got, what's the deal? You don't want to wear the Fox coat or what?
Yeah, no, I changed into something a little
stylish enough for you? Not hip enough for you?
Well, what we want to get into here is Kurt Warner's obviously had the broken finger, and now this pad right here is what's creating some problems for him. So when he's getting snaps, the ball is hitting him right there on the area that has created some problems.
Feely showed the run. Now finds Deuce Staley. The near side of the field, and Staley's up to the 43-yard line.
To go back with that, and Kurt has not been taking any snaps all week long. The reason is when he's getting the snap, the ball is hitting him right on this area that somehow became inflamed and swollen last week, and he's having a lot of problems. And that we talked about how last night he was not shaking hands, and that's the reason. Not so much the pinky and the break that he had, but more because of the inflammation in that pad, that hand pad that absorbs the shock when you're taking a snap from center.
Really an injury here last year, guys. The first game of the season when he hit his right hand and that thumb on a helmet. The game the Rams eventually won in overtime as Deuce Staley picks up the first down, and we go down to the field in Pam Oliver.
Okay, Joe, a couple of injury updates for you on some of the Eagles secondary members. Safety Blaine Bishop went into the locker room for treatment. He has a pulled groin. Cornerback Shelton Brown has a knee contusion. His return is probable. Back to you.
Orlando Pace still getting attention, and he's talking to his offensive line mates. Bothered by a strain in his right hamstring. More play action from Feely, who lets it fly. Dropped. What a throw from A.J. Feely to Brian Westbrook. Right in his gut, but dropped. Second down coming up.
Well, I think A.J. Feely's just doing an outstanding job in this game of getting to the right plays, throwing to the right guys. He's making good decisions. He's getting rid of the football. But the guys so far have not stepped up and made the plays around him like they did last week for Coy Detmer. Right there, ball hits Westbrook right in the hands. Possibly a touchdown if he's able to bring that one in. But A.J. Feely is not showing signs of a guy who has not played very much in this league.
You're looking at a guy in A.J. Feely who was released to the practice squad early in the year as the Eagles were trying to free up some roster space because of injuries. So really, any team could have had A.J. Feely. He got some offers from other organizations, but knew that he was only there because of a tight roster, not because they didn't like him. He stays here in Philadelphia, and here he is with an 8-3 team getting a chance to start.
Well, and he almost didn't even make this team because, you know, he barely beat out Tim Hasselback when they ended camp to be the third. Now Tim Hasselback is the backup in this game that they just brought up to the active squad.
Third down and 4. Feely sets up and throws, has Thrash, who has a first down. And no problems at all for Feely, who shows emotion down on that field.
One of the big matchups in this ballgame, John Runyon working against Leonard Little, who is the best pass rusher for the St. Louis Rams, 7 sacks on the year. And John Runyon's just having a fantastic season. And then A.J. Feely, I'm not real sure how he got this ball in there. There had to be 4 Rams defenders right around that play, and James Thrash somehow found a hole, and Feely found him.
First down at the Ram 36. Play action. Scanina wraps up Feely back near midfield.
Well, Jeff Scanina, number 90, he's going to come up inside, and A.J. Feely turns around and sees him right there. And in my opinion, A.J. Feely, he has time there to get rid of that football. He had some space. He's not the most athletic guy. He's not the most mobile guy. We have seen him move around some, but he had a chance there to get rid of the football and avoid the big loss.
Talking to some of the Eagles players and coaches, they said if he does have a weakness, they said he tends to hold on to the ball a little too long trying to make plays.
Big loss of 12 on that sack. Second of the day for the Rams, and it looked like Trey Thomas, the left tackle, moved too quickly, and this will move the ball back on the Eagles side of the field.
And what happens?
False start, 72 offense. 5 yards, second down.
One of the things that often goes unnoticed is when you have changes in quarterbacks. Last week, Coy Detmer coming in, and then this week with A.J. Feely, each quarterback has a different rhythm to their cadence. Very difficult for these offensive linemen to get adjusted from quarterback to quarterback on when it is that the ball is going to be hiked and them coming off the ball.
And what did Hank Fraley tell us? Said not every singer sings alike now.
Very proud of that.
He worked on that line all week. He was happy to give us that one.
Second down and 27. Draw play to Levens to the Ram 45. The Eagles need to get to the Ram 26 for a first down, a gain of 8 on that play. Next week, it will be week number 14 around the NFL. Falcons and Buccaneers. Big early game, and these Philadelphia Eagles will go out to Seattle to take on the Seattle Seahawks or other regional games. Check your local listings. And it should be an interesting matchup between Warren Sapp and Michael Vick. Vick scoring the winning touchdown in overtime today, as we showed you in the win over Minnesota. Feely holds on to it too long again, and Leonard Little comes up with his 8th sack of the season and the 3rd already on A.J. Feely today.
That Chris pointed out earlier, the job that Runyon was doing against Leonard Little. This time they got it tied in on his side, Jeff Thomason, but Leonard Little's able to use his speed and get around the corner. Jeff Feely never sees it coming.
So far, this has been a game of offensive mistakes. There's been one defensive touchdown, and these offensives, they really just look horrible so far.
Landetta hangs one. Wilkins on the run. And they throw a flag as Wilkins had to go off his hands and then out of bounds. And a lot of discussion down near the 14-yard line.
Even if there's no fair catch called, you still have to give the guy room to make the catch.
Damian Douglas wondering if he's going to be flagged for getting too close.
Interference with the opportunity to make a catch. Number 82 of the kicking team. 15 yards, first down.
That's a big penalty. It gives the Rams, instead of a first down at their own 14, this will move the ball out near the 30. Damian Douglas called for that. And the Rams have it down 7. Don't make the mistake at home of thinking, well, if Warner continues to struggle, they'll just put the guy who went 5-0, Mark Bulger, into the game, because he is listed as the 3rd quarterback. Jamie Martin on the right with a headset on is the backup. We talk about the rules of the 3rd quarterback after this play. First down from their own 31, a toss to Falk. With blocking in front of him, Marshall Falk to the sideline. Out of bounds after a gain of about 5 yards. The rule is, and we talked about this last week, if you end up putting the 3rd string quarterback into the action, the other 2 quarterbacks can't come in until the 4th quarter. And Bulger, Chris, you were watching Bulger during the pregame warm-ups throw the football, and he looked terrible.
Yeah, 3rd string quarterback or not, it doesn't make any difference. He just simply can't grip and throw the football right now.
Tendon problem in his right hand, between the index and middle fingers. The throw short of Kroll, incomplete. Prohl had his man Kirkland, but Warner was short with the toss, and we go back to Los Angeles for a game break and check in with James Brown.
Hey, Joe, San Francisco trying to avoid its first 3-game losing streak in over 2 years. Garrison Hurst 5 yards of pay dirt, capping a 14-play, 70-yard drive of over 8 minutes. It's 7-3. San Francisco back to Joe Buck.
The standings, the Rams still believe they're alive in the NFC West, but they're alive only if they come out of Philadelphia with a win. Warner throws on 3rd down, and it's incomplete. Torrey Holt, the intended receiver, and Al Harris was there defending.
Really nice job by Al Harris there. He basically was running the comeback route for him, had a chance to intercept that ball, and I think that 2nd down pass to Ricky Prohl really showed some of the problems that Kurt Warner is having throwing the football. Ricky Prohl runs an out route, he's wide open, ball's thrown behind him, and had they have been able to complete that one, they would have had a 1st down.
I mean, let's just talk about the body language of Kurt Warner right now. I mean, he looks like a guy, especially into this win, that just doesn't think he can get those plays made.
Another punt from Mitch Berger. End over end on the line, but probably the best way to go on a day like this. A chance for Mitchell on the return, and Brian Mitchell gets smacked at the 37-38 line, and that's where the Eagles offense will take over. 40-yard punt, 8-yard return. Kurt Warner and the Rams now working into the wind, missing on a 2nd down throw, and it's been a rough day for number 13 so far. Well, if you're the St. Louis Rams and you need a win here today, the defense has to do today what it didn't do last week against Danny Werfel and the Washington Redskins, and that is maybe go out and win a game. And this defense, which got a turnover early on a fumble by A.J. Feely, just has not been coming up with the football like they have been the last 2 years. They've had 0 defensive scores this season. They had 5 a year ago and 8 when they won the Super Bowl in '99. That's Dorsey Levens. A nice run on 1st down, got 8.5, 9 yards. The early game headliners. Priest Holmes, another big day, as the Kansas City Chiefs just dismantled Arizona. Drew Bledsoe in a win for Buffalo, and Michael Vick.
A little symmetry.
And 3 total touchdowns as the Falcons prepare for a game next week in Tampa Bay. Second down and 1. Play action from Feely. Airs it out, has Pinkston wide open. Down inside the 15-yard line. They'll mark him at the 12.
Now, if you're going to get the ball down the field, you've got to have some protection. Right here they get on Grant Wistrom. Do a nice job there. And then you got Todd Pinkston. The safety was nowhere to be found. Dre Blythe thought he was going to get some kind of help. A.J. Feely spots him and makes an easy throw and completion.
Movement by Thomas again.
False start, number 72, offense. 5 yards, 1st down.
Well, by now we know who that is. It's Trey Thomas. I think on the previous play, though, Troy, it looked like when Feely rolled right, the safety sucked over and kind of went with him, leaving the backside open.
Well, what happened was Thrash was in the slot. They didn't put any defender over him. Therefore, Thrash had a clean release, was able to get pressure on the safety, and it helped occupy the safety so that Dre Blythe was on his own.
1st down and 15. The pass is incomplete. You can see the zip on that incompletion to Pinkston.
And here it is. See, there's no defender right here, so he gets a free release, and he pulls the safety out. It leaves one-on-one on the outside, but Dre Blythe's thinking he's going to get some of that help from the safety, and therefore Pinkston runs right by him.
But, Troy, the big point here, just like it was in the Washington game, right now the Rams are committing so many guys to the line of scrimmage to stop the run. They're singled up back there in the secondary, and they're not very good at it.
2nd down and 15. This is Westbrook. Little end around, and Westbrook back near the original line of scrimmage. It's going to be 3rd down for Philadelphia, and if you're the Rams defense and defensive coordinator Lovie Smith, you're thinking we have got to hold them to a 3-point try. Falling down 14-0 with your offense playing the way it is against this Philly defense could be death.
I'll tell you the truth, I think the life is being sucked out of this team. There's no emotion out there. They're watching Kurt Warner, and they're seeing the issues he's got, and they're all probably thinking we're in trouble.
3rd down and 11. Feely over the middle, incomplete. Leonard Little had pressure on the play, and the pass was too high for Antonio Freeman.
Well, that was a pretty good design right there on the play. A.J. Feely sees it. This is the toughest area to throw the football, especially when you've not been accustomed to doing it. He hangs in the pocket, and you're going to see Antonio Freeman work into the end zone, find that zone in front of Kim Herring. Had a chance for a touchdown. A.J. just a little high on the throw.
David Akers, the leading scorer in the NFL starting the day with 100 points, now has 103. Akers has missed only 2 all year, and with that, the Eagles add to their lead. Under 5 to play in the first half, 10-zip. 10-0 as Akers is good from 31 yards. You found out, Troy Aikman, that they call this place a city of brotherly love for a reason. They have shown you some love this weekend in Philly. They thought you were coming here to play quarterback.
Well, after 12 years of showing me a lot of hate, it's about time I got a little love in this city.
We're back to normal now, though.
Wilkins on the move. Big hit as Wilkins crossed the 25. Kurt Warner back to work. 10-0 after a 24-yard return from Terrence Wilkins. Circle him, Chris.
I got the arrow on. Can I just put the arrow on?
Yeah, why not?
All right.
That's Coy Detmer, who is all jazzed up, snappily dressed on this chilly Sunday afternoon.
Got a chance to talk to him a little bit before the ball game, and there's been some flirtation with the fact that maybe he can come back next week. I don't think Coy's thinking he's coming back next week. That thing's still hurting him pretty badly.
Under 5 to play in the first half, starting from their own 26. Warner is sacked. Hugh Douglas. Number 9 for the 2-time Pro Bowler.
There just is no prayer right now. Hugh Douglas is one of the best pass rushers. You've got John St. Clair, who's a weak spot on this offensive line for the Rams anyway, playing out of position for Orlando Pace. You have Kurt Warner with the bad hand, who's in trouble anyway with his play on the field, the wind blowing in their face. This is a nightmare right now for the St. Louis Rams.
2nd down and 19 after the sack. And an inside handoff to Troy Edwards. Trying to make a move in a minimal gain. Brought down shy of the 20 after a gain of only 3. Al Harris made the tackle.
And I think there's 2 things worth mentioning, Chris. One is that, as you mentioned, St. Clair, who had been playing pretty good at right tackle, is now having to make the adjustment to left tackle. That's a big adjustment. And then also, you would ask the question, why don't they get him some help? Kurt Warner likes only 5-man protection so that he can get all 5 guys out in the routes. They may have to readjust that thinking here in this quarter.
3rd down and 16. Warner buys time. Lets it go and finds Torrey Holt. The ball comes out. And the Philadelphia Eagles have recovered. Bobby Taylor, who already has a touchdown, comes away with a fumble as Holt dropped it about a yard shy of 1st down yardage.
Well, Troy, to get back to your point now, they're having to roll away from Hugh Douglas and help with Marshall Faulk. Okay, mission accomplished. Now they get out around the corner, and Kurt Warner makes the best throw of the day, and they still end up with a negative play.
They still turn the ball over, and that's been a problem for them all year. They're 2nd in the league in turning the ball over offensively, now being 30 times.
Well, there's the challenge flag with 3:39 to go in this first half. That is thrown by Mike Martz. The Rams have only 1 timeout remaining, and Torrey Holt came to the bench saying that he did not fumble, and we'll get probably our best look at it right here. The knee, tough to tell with that replay if the knee was down before the hit was made.
Couldn't overturn it based on that.
St. Louis is challenging the ruling on the field that it is a fumble.
I don't think you can overturn it from that either.
That might give us our best look if it was slowed down a bit, but the question is, was the knee down?
The problem was, though, in one shot you couldn't see the knee, in the other shot you couldn't see the ball.
Right.
So there has to be something definitive to overturn it, and there wasn't.
And by the way, Holt, when he was hit, was about a yard short of the first down yardage. So this either means the Eagles will maintain the ball inside the Ram 30, or it'll be 4th down, and the Rams will have to punt it to Philadelphia anyway. Tough to see if the ball is beginning to squirt out before the knee actually touches down.
This might be our best angle here, but you can't see the ball when it starts to come out.
Michael Lewis makes the hit. Bobby Taylor comes away with what is ruled a fumble for the moment. Bob McElwee will go under the hood and take a look. See if it'll stand.
Michael Lewis is a young man that's filling in for Blaine Bishop because of that injury, and they think Michael Lewis is going to be a future star on this team. They can't wait to get him in the lineup.
Well, it could be yet another turnover for this Rams team, which came in at -11 in the turnover ratio. We get another look. The question is the right knee down? And it's too hard to tell from that angle as to whether the knee's down before the hit and the ball comes out.
There's just no way to overturn it based on that because you can't see the knee. It's just a little disappointing, and I know there have been so many things going wrong for the Rams today, and Kurt Warner with the injury to Orlando Pace, and Marshall Faulk in and out of the lineup, and Kurt Warner, clearly his hands bother him. They're giving it an effort out there. You have to give the guys a little credit for giving it a shot and trying to play despite the injuries and everything else. But the overall team of the St. Louis Rams seems a little flat to me. I mean, they really seem a little lifeless, and I get the feeling they're over there watching Marshall Faulk and watching Kurt Warner and seeing that their stars don't have it today.
After reviewing the play, there is no indisputable evidence to change the ruling on the field. First down, Philadelphia. Charge St. Louis with a team timeout.
That's their final timeout. And I think that all would agree that there wasn't enough on the replay to overturn that call. And Michael Lewis, the hit by the rookie. And by the way, you should make the point that after the Eagles lost to the Rams twice last year, including in the NFC Championship game, their first 3 draft picks were defensive backs. Michael Lewis, one of them, and he forces that fumble, which gives the Eagles great field position, just shy of the Ram 29-yard line. Already up 10-0 with about 3.5 minutes left in the half.
And Troy Vincent told us yesterday that this game was going to come down to their shoulders. They've certainly played outstanding here in this first half.
Feely on a handoff to Levens. Hit hard, and the ball comes out. And the Rams have it. So the Eagles give it right back. Big hits. And it's Dorsey Levens who puts it on the carpet. The Ram offense will go right back to work.
And Troy, that's the most flying around the football I've seen out of the Rams defense all day. Last year, they made their mark with their hustle, with their effort, and big grease. Ryan Pickett with the initial hit on that one, followed up with Tommy Polley, who's probably having the best year of any of these guys on the Rams defense.
There's no question. He has missed some time this season because of injury, but it is an entirely different defense when he is out on the field playing.
Rams have turned it over 3 times. The Eagles twice. Starting from their own 30 on first down. Down 10-0. Looking for some spark, some hope. That might help. Long throw, catch by Bruce, and a first down inside Philadelphia territory. Remember, that's into the wind. Easily the best throw by Warner all day.
Well, and one of the best routes, too, and by one of the best route runners. Isaac Bruce is as good as there is, and that's a mismatch when you've got Isaac Bruce running against Bobby Taylor. Bobby's a much bigger, more physical corner, and he is just not going to be able to run with Isaac Bruce and the precision routes that he runs.
Up to 600 receptions in his career. Tops in the all-time Rams list. It's good for 27 yards, and Bruce gets number 601.
And as Jim Johnson always does, the defensive coordinator of the Eagles, you hit him for a big play, he comes right back with the blitz. But that time, Kurt Warner able to sit in there and get it out quickly. The game plan has been brilliant by Jim Johnson so far. Early in the game, taking away the short throws, forcing them down the field. But now you hit the big crossing route. Got to think a little differently.
Yeah, I think early Mike Marks wanted to be balanced and run the football, but I'm starting to sense he's losing patience. He can start throwing the ball now.
Second down, Holtz. A first down catch inside the 25. Remember, the Rams are out of timeouts, but right now time is not a big issue with over 2 minutes to play, and that will likely take us to the 2-minute warning here at the Vet. 13-yard completion and a first down for St. Louis at the Philadelphia 23. Looking for hope at the Vet, down by 10.
Don't forget the Visa halftime coming up in just a couple of minutes. You have the superstar JB, about 3-time Emmy Award winning. You have Kimmel's best friend right there. And right there. And Jerry Jones's best friend right there. We learned that on the pregame show today. A lot of love today on that pregame.
Did Jimmy get choked up in that interview?
I did.
Troy, your feelings? All right, let's play football.
I've heard the story too many times.
First and 10 for the Rams with 2 minutes remaining in the first half. Warner dumps it off and through the hands of Marshall Faulk.
Well, that is the best protection we've seen all day for Kurt Warner. It was at least 5 seconds of him sitting in the pocket, and then Marshall Faulk unable to make the play. This is what the Rams have been missing so much, though. As good as Lamar Gordon is and trunk candidate, Marshall Faulk is one of those guys you can flip one of those little 3-yard passes to, and he ends up with 25 on the stat sheet.
4 straight years of 2,000 or more yards from scrimmage. That's an NFL record. Been out the last 2 full games. Warner steps up, fires, and caught by Isaac Bruce. He dives down inside the 15-yard line, about a yard shy of a first down. Gain of 8, so about 1.5 yards left for a first down for St. Louis. Third down coming up.
Yeah, and I think what you see a lot of from these receivers, whether it be Isaac Bruce or Torrey Holt, right at the point where they're getting ready to have contact with a defender, you'll see them go down, protect themselves, try to get the yardage that they can, but if Bruce had been able to stay up there and take on the hit, he might have been able to get the first down himself.
Third down, and Warner will run for the first down. Slide forward, still take a hit, and did he get enough for the first down? They mark it down, and the Rams signal first down.
I think
the officials are going to call a timeout, and I know it's about to come out of your mouth.
You do?
Yeah.
Tell me.
You didn't like that hit?
No, that wasn't it.
Okay. You've always enjoyed wearing heavy coats and turtlenecks.
I do like that, yeah.
A minute left in this half. We'll see if it's a first down.
I think I was going to say it's the second time we've seen Kurt Warner as he slides into the ground and the ball comes popping out. I just don't think he has much of an ability to grip the ball, and he may have gotten dinged on that one.
Well, I'm saying when he went to slide there, you see that right hand. I mean, I don't want to make more of this than what there is, but it just appears that that right hand is giving him some real problems.
You know what, Joe? I didn't like that hit. The quarterback is supposed to have that protection. When you slide in first, the reason for the slide is the defensive player is not supposed to be able to hit you. And if Sean Barber, I think Kurt's hot about it too. With the official, he's saying, you're going to let him hit me like that, it's going to be a short day for me. You're not supposed to be able to spear the quarterback regardless, but especially when he's giving himself up on the slide.
Sean Barber, the speed weak side linebacker, is one of the 2 that came in for the hit. He comes out of the lineup. It is a first down. The ball at the 13-yard line. Rams down by 10. Warner dances out of trouble. Throws incomplete. Isaac Bruce had 2 defenders in front of him, including the strong safety Michael Lewis.
Well, I've been on John St. Clair today, but watch him this time over here on Hugh Douglas, just doing a fantastic job. And really, but for a perfect block out there by St. Clair, Kurt Warner wouldn't have been able to step up.
Yeah, the pressure came from Kurt's right side from Andy King, the tackle who just filled in. And St. Clair had to move over to left tackle for Orlando Pace.
Rams haven't scored in this first half. That has not happened this season. Warner with more time, dumps it off to Holt. Makes a move. The ball pops out. No signal from the official. They're calling Holt down, and with 35 seconds and counting, it's going to be a 3rd down for the Rams.
Well, they either got to run a play or ground it, which would only give them one more play.
They fake the grounding, flip to the air, and it's incomplete, nearly intercepted by Harris.
A good job there by Kurt Warner. Had they have come up and grounded the ball, that would have then made it 4th down with 1 shot. You're going to see the play that Kurt Warner made earlier. He got pressure because of the right side, but he finds Torrey Holt, does a great job of getting rid of the football. And here's that last play when Kurt throws it up in the corner. Now they're going to have to attempt the field goal.
Wilkins will try it. 22-yard attempt to put the Rams on the board, and it's drilled. You know, you think back, though, it was 3rd and about 1.5 yards. The Rams panicked, got up to the line, the incomplete pass, and they have to settle for 3. Down 7 with 20 seconds left. So the Rams are on the scoreboard as Wilkins hits the field goal. It's 10-3. The Rams certainly had enough time, guys, with a 3rd and 1 to take a little more time, line up, talk about a play, throw the ball into the end zone. If they don't get it, they kick the field goal. They couldn't run it or take the risk of running it, because if the Rams didn't pick up the 1st down, you can't spike the ball because it's 4th down and you're scurrying to get your field goal unit on the team. Wilkins hit the field goal. It's 10-3, and now with 20 seconds left in the half, Wilkins will kick it into the wind, try the squib kick. Pretty good return by one of the big linemen, Jeremy Selecta. And Selecta gets the ball up near midfield with 16 seconds left. Well, next week we'll be down in Tampa, and Michael Vick will bring the red-hot Atlanta Falcons in to take on that terrific Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense, #1 in the NFL, and there's the heart and soul of it, Warren Sapp. They will take on New Orleans down in New Orleans tonight.
Well, who would have thought that game this late in the season would have the bearings on it that it's going to have?
I'll tell you what, Michael Vick may have my vote for MVP of the league right now.
16 seconds left, 3 timeouts remaining for Philadelphia. Feely fires, and it's through the hands of Whitley. And then I believe Dre Bly, as 2 Rams had a shot at it. It's going to be 2nd down and 10, and if the Eagles pick up another 10 yards or so with the kind of leg that David Akers has, you could see him come on the field and try one of these. He was kicking field goals of over 60 yards during the pregame warm-ups and not willing to take a shot at it. With a young quarterback, A.J. Feely, the Eagles kneel on it and will head to the dressing room up by 7.
That surprises me right there. You have the great field position. I don't understand that one.
What could Pam Oliver and Andy Reid be talking about? We'll find that out a little bit later. Right now, that's the end of the first half. It's the Eagles 10, the Rams 3. The Visa halftime report coming your way after a word from your local Fox station. It is a 10-3 Philadelphia lead as we get ready for the start of the second half. Before the game, Ron Rivera, the linebackers coach, tried to rally the troops before this game with the Rams.
We have to set the tone. We have to set the tempo. If we give these guys an opportunity to set their tone, hey, it's a different ballgame. Make them play the way we want to play. Physical and downhill. Be physical with these guys. Attack downhill to your depth and blow somebody up. Let's go. Packers on 3. 1, 2, 3. Packers. Give them who the team is.
Talking to the Eagle defenders, they'll tell you we've carried this team for the last few years. It looked like the offense was starting to catch up. Donovan McNabb and the offense starting to roll. Now they lose McNabb. They almost have to go back to how they were thinking prior to McNabb really establishing himself as one of the best players in the league, which he is. And I think for the most part, the Eagles defense has to be happy with the way they played the first half.
Well, I think they do. There's no question. And the Rams have not been able to run the football. And that's been the biggest thing. This Eagles defense has shut down the run, forcing Kurt Warner to kind of shoulder that load. And this is not a defense that you want to have to try to throw the football against.
And I want to get back to your point. As much as they love Donovan McNabb, this entire football team, very charismatic guy, a great personality on the team. There's also a little bit of something within this team that they want to prove they can do it without him. Everybody says, you know, Donovan McNabb, he's a one-man team. Well, right now, this defense has a chance to take over the football game, win it, and dominate it here in the second half.
The Rams will get it here at the start of the second half, down by 7. Wilkins from outside the 15-yard line. He gets to the 35, and that's it. Let's go down to the field and say hello again to Pam Oliver.
Hi, Joe. I had a chance to talk with Mike Marks at halftime. He said that he felt like losing tackle Orlando Pace to that hamstring injury completely threw the offense out of sync and took him too long to get it going. I asked him about Kurt Warner. Is he your guy for the second half? He acknowledged Warner did some bad things in the first half, but he feels like all he has to do is settle down and play. Back to you.
We'll see if he can. With this big rush, Orlando Pace with a jacket on. St. Clair at left tackle, Andy King at right tackle. Rams have it 1st and 10, and they start with a throw. Bruce found a hole in the defense and has a first down at the Philadelphia 45. Dawkins made the stop. That throw good for 26, and we look at some of the numbers from the first half. Rushing yards, the Rams were hoping to establish the run early. As Troy talked about, they seem to have abandoned that. Pass yards dominated by the Rams. Punts, turnovers. You look at Marshall Faulk limp off after getting hit by Hugh Douglas.
Well, he was trying to give St. Clair some help at left tackle there on that last pass play.
Warner airs it out, and it is incomplete. Isaac Bruce, the intended receiver. Vincent and the safety Michael Lewis were there for Philadelphia.
It's all right. That's a good play to start the second half. You always want to have something to get in the minds of those defensive backs. Push them back a little bit. What I thought the difference in the first half was Jim Johnson's ability to take away some of those underneath throws. Already we've seen the deep crossing route, a deep throw down the field. Loosen those guys up a little bit in that secondary.
Yeah, and Isaac Bruce, he was upset that they didn't do more of that last week against Washington.
2nd down and 10. Warner throws, and it's dropped. Torrey Holt right into his chest. And as Torrey was making his way back toward the middle of the field, couldn't hang on. 3rd and 10 coming up.
I'll tell you what, you know, you talk about Kurt Warner and his hand and some of the problems that he's had to deal with that. But these guys around him, they've also got to step up. And right there, Holt has an opportunity to make a play. Earlier, they're dropping the ball. I mean, all of these guys have got to elevate their play if they're going to get back in this thing and win this game today.
Holt 5 catches for 67 yards. Couldn't make the last. And a quick throw. That's Ricky Prohl. And he falls forward for what appears to be a first down.
And that's what Kurt Warner does best right there. The Eagles come with the blitz. They're spread out 5 wide across the field. You bring blitz off the corner, and all of a sudden, he's just going to dump the ball right wherever you left from. Bobby Taylor coming on the blitz. Easy pitch and catch. That's the difference with Kurt Warner. It's not his arm strength. It's not what he can do physically. It's mentally, the quick release, reading the defenses to perfection that time.
29 catches this season for Prohl, 22 of which gone for first downs. That skips in. incomplete. Isaac Bruce, the intended receiver, and Troy Vincent was defending for Philadelphia.
Yeah, and they brought Brian Dawkins on the blitz. They were able to pick it up, and because of the quick pass, they weren't able to get pressure to him. But Brian Dawkins, he's really the guy who they build this defense around. Last year, in a lot of ways, it was Jeremiah Trotter. He's no longer with this team. Now Brian Dawkins, he's the one who does all the blitzing. And when you talk to these opposing offenses, he's the guy who everybody wants to know where he's at all times.
We haven't seen a running play yet. That changes with a give to Lamar Gordon. He fumbles. Another Ram turnover. Recovered by Philadelphia, and it's the rookie safety Michael Lewis who comes away with it.
Boy, somebody put a 10 over this circus for the Rams. It's unbelievable. Even when they get it going a little bit, they turn right around and give it away again. This has to be such a frustrating night for Mike Martz, because the offense has shown some flashes of the old, but just keeps making the big mistake.
That got Lamar Gordon in trouble earlier in the preseason this year. And go back to what I said earlier. Every time they get something going today, there's a turnover. Someone's laying the ball on the ground, killing drives.
You see second worst in that plus-minus category are the Rams. Now A.J. Feely to work. You can hear the Rams defense calling for a pick. There's no flag on the play, and it's incomplete. James Thrash, the intended receiver.
One thing we've seen from Andy Reid is he's going to, talking to him yesterday, he said, we're going to do what we do. And so far, that's been the case. They come right back out on this series, throwing the football, and they have not shied away from putting the ball in A.J. Feely's hands.
Second down. And the running play to Deuce Staley does not get much. A gain of only 2. 3rd and 8 coming up. Let's go down to Pam Oliver.
Okay, Joe, Andy Reid's biggest concern for the second half is not necessarily his young quarterback, but he says we need more consistency from the offensive line in both the running and passing game. I asked him about the keys for the second half. He says we just got to get this thing rolling and score. Back to you.
Pam, you're not cold down there, are you?
No, not at all. I'm tough. See, I don't complain about the cold.
I can hear you shivering in your voice.
3rd and 8. Pass is complete to Lewis. First down, Philadelphia at their own 40. And like Warner did on the previous possession, A.J. Feely found the open man and hit him for a first down.
Here's Todd Pinkston. He's working against Travis Fisher, but they also had Dexter McCleon over the top of that. But here's the throw that was made. Almost bobbles it, but just an easy completion for a first down.
Completely uncovered was Chad Lewis. He gets a first down, and now Deuce Staley. He's done virtually nothing today, a gain of only 2. Back in a warm and toasty studio in Los Angeles is James Brown with a game break.
Hey, Joe, because of injuries in the secondary for San Francisco, Tony Parrish was moved from strong safety to free. Take a look at him. Great effort here on this pick of Matt Hasselbeck. Gets up, takes it down near to the 1-yard line. Garrison Hurst finishes it up from there with the 1-yard score. 24-3. San Francisco back to Joe Buck.
JB, thanks. 2nd and 8. Quick setup, and the pass is incomplete.
And right now, the Rams have a pretty simple plan going on defense. They're going to stack the line of scrimmage on 1st and 2nd down and try and force Feely to beat him throwing the football. And I think that's the right way to go. Even though he's looked solid out here, he's played well, you have to put the ball in that young man's hands, and hopefully he throws you one, gets you back in the game.
Four turnovers today for St. Louis. The latest stopping a drive in which the Rams were starting to put some momentum together. Feely throws over the middle. The catch is made. The ball comes out. The Rams pick it up. Dre Bly on the return. And Bly is out of bounds inside the 40. Brian Westbrook put it on the floor, and Dre Bly comes away with it. And now for the 3rd time today, the Eagles have turned it over. From one rookie to another, Feely to Westbrook. And it's Dre Bly giving the Rams good field position as they trail by 7. Dre Bly with a fumble recovery, but it was Leonard Little who turned a 14.5 sack season last year into a big contract, hustling to force the fumble. And the Rams have it down 7 at the Philadelphia 40. A cold day in Philadelphia, 7 turnovers, and Warner flips it out of the reach of Holt. Hugh Douglas with pressure, and Hugh Douglas having a tough time getting back up.
Watch Leonard Little right here with just a fantastic hustle play. Lovie Smith, the defensive coordinator, insists everybody runs to the football. There you see why. That's just fantastic for a defensive lineman to get that far down the field and make a play to get his team back in the game.
Feely got up barking. 2nd down and 10 for St. Louis. The Eagles showing blitz.
It's legal.
Warner throws, and it's Holt on the catch. A 1st down inside the 30.
Boy, Marshall Faulk, what a fantastic job with the blitz pickup there. He may not be able to move very well right now, but he's going to take on Corey Simon, a big defensive lineman, and just take his legs right out and allow Kurt Warner to get this ball out. Fantastic play right there by Faulk. The veterans now coming through. Leonard Little with the strip, Marshall Faulk with the big block. Now they're starting to look like the Rams.
After the fumble, Lamar Gordon has stayed on the sideline while Faulk is in the lineup. 1st down, St. Louis. Warner to the end zone, tipped, incomplete. And it's big Levon Kirkland all the way back downfield, standing in front of Marshall Faulk.
You wouldn't expect to see Levon Kirkland trying to cover Marshall Faulk, but that's the position he gets caught in. You're going to see here it's about 300 pounds trying to run with Marshall Faulk. Does a pretty good job. Has a chance and makes a play on that, and Kurt was trying to get the ball to Marshall from the snap.
Remember back in his days with the Steelers, we used to see him in that middle read, covering down the middle from his linebacker position. A few extra LBs since then, but boy, he's still athletic for a big guy.
Play clock down to 4. Warner throws, Marshall Faulk drops it, and yet another drop, and this time it's Faulk. 3rd down and 10 for the Rams. Out to Los Angeles at game break. Here's James Brown.
Seahawks doing their best to turn matters around. Take a look at Matt Hasselbeck dropping back, pump fakes, hooks up with Darrell Jackson, 36 yards to pay dirt. It is now 24-10 San Francisco over Seattle. That in the 3rd. Back to Joe Brown.
All right, JB, here the Rams are going to have to use a timeout.
Here we go again.
Year after year, week after week, the Rams use their timeouts early. They'll talk about a 3rd and 10. The elements a factor. A lot of drops around Kurt Warner. 23 degrees for the wind chill factor. Warner has seen 6 passes dropped. And it's 3rd down and 10 as this crowd will take their gloves off and start to make some noise. Warner throws, end zone, underthrown and intercepted. Vincent.
Brian Dawkins came on a safety blitz from deep in here, but the Rams with perfect protection. Once again, I believe that's Marshall Faulk. Pick it up.
Well, they try to get the ball to Bruce. They got a shot at it, but Kurt's got to get the ball up a little bit sooner. He's unable to. It's underthrown, and that's why Troy Vincent was there to make the interception.
And that one takes 3 points off the board as well. A field goal with the win would have been fairly easy there.
5 turnovers today for the Rams. Thrash. James Thrash with a catch. They'll mark him down up near the 29-yard line. We'll give him a gain of 8, 2nd and 2.
And you see Kurt Warner there on the sidelines. One, he knows that he missed an opportunity there, but you can tell he's just frustrated with what's happened so far in this game. And we talked about it a little bit earlier, and what he's been going through. He has not won a game yet for this team. And Mike Marks told us yesterday, we've got to get a win under Kurt's belt. And you can tell that he's starting to press just a little bit.
Staley ahead for the first down.
And Troy, one of the things that Kurt Warner has not been through before is the fans being down on him and the booing and the things that every quarterback that I've ever known in my life have had to go through and have emotional scars from, and right now he's having to deal with that.
Well, he's dealing with that, and probably he shouldn't have to be dealing with it based on what he's done, but that is part of the job.
First down for the Eagles. Feely with all day and completes it. Deuce Staley. And he is stood up at the 39-yard line. Feely got that ball into a tight spot.
Just talk a little bit about what it's like. I mean, you won 3 Super Bowls with the Dallas Cowboys, and yet you still went through moments with the media, with the crowd. They were booing you. You had the negative articles. Right. It's got to hurt because you got to feel like, hey, wait a minute. Look what I've done for you, and what are you guys doing to me?
Well, and Kurt Warner told us last night that it hurt him. You know, after what he's done for this organization, winning a Super Bowl, 2-time MVP, it does hurt, but there's no question the fans want to know what you've done lately, and so far that guy's been Mark Bulger.
First down carry by Dorsey Levens. James Whitley made the tackle, with a fresh set of downs for Philadelphia.
But it really has been such a nightmarish year for Kurt Warner when you think about it. Start off slowly. He has a bad start to the season. The team starts slowly. They can't win a football game. Then Mark Bulger comes in, wins 5 straight. You come back and have to go on the road. Washington, Philadelphia, Kansas City, about as tough as it could possibly be.
On first down, carry by Dorsey Levens. He gets a couple over the right side.
And I think in fairness to Kurt in this ball game today, if they just don't lay the ball on the ground and these receivers make the catches, Joe mentioned 6 drops, this game today would be much different than what it is right now. So we can't lay it all at the feet of Kurt Warner.
But you would have to say that the ball is not coming out the way that it used to come out from Kurt.
And it may not. It may not. As many injuries as he's had to that hand, it may never come out the same again.
Second down and 8. Feely throws it. Pass is complete. Quick tackle made in midfield as Deuce Staley made the reception. Pressure on the play by Damian Lewis, who has stepped up, and it's 3rd down and 2 coming up for the Eagles.
Well, that's a great job by A.J. Feely just hanging in there, because Damian Lewis coming off the corner puts a big-time hit on his backside. Doesn't see it coming, but A.J. Feely showing some toughness and delivers the ball for a completion.
The Eagles working into the wind here in this 3rd quarter. Maintaining a 7-point lead. 3rd down and 2. And we'll see if the Rams were drawn off. They certainly came across, and if it's against St. Louis, it's a first down. It's against Philadelphia.
False start on the center. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
That's Hank Fraley, who they ask, the Eagles do, to pick up the blitzes and make changes really for the entire offense at center.
It's pretty remarkable. I've never heard that. I've heard of a center making adjustments in protection for the interior line and for linebackers, but they ask him to know when they're bringing safeties and redirect the line so that they can pick up a safety, whether he's blitzing weak or he's blitzing strong. And I've just never seen a center be able to see that, but he's able to.
3rd down and 7 now after the penalty, and Dre Bly stepped in front of Pinkston and nearly came away with another Philadelphia turnover. It's 4th down.
Boy, Dre Bly saw that one all the way. That could have easily been a touchdown. Todd Pinkston got his hands in there to break it up just a little bit at the last second. But Dre Bly, for whatever it was that he picked up, some key, he broke before the wide receiver did. But Dre Bly is going to do that. He'll jump some routes out there. And once in a while, you can beat him on a double move.
Landetta into the wind. Wilkins tripped up and brought down at the 25. Dre Bly stepped in front, nearly came away with a pick. He's got 2 this season, and the Rams have it down 7. It is a 10-3 Philadelphia lead. The Rams get it back. They've turned it over twice here in the second half, both times inside Philadelphia territory. And the Eagles look like they're coming. They're coming. And a toss to Falk. And Marshall Falk has not been a factor today. Back to the line of scrimmage. Kurt Warner, the kind of day against this Philadelphia defense. See the ball come out and underthrowing Ricky Prohl, and then a skip to Lamar Gordon. A couple of interceptions, including one for 7 points. The only touchdown of the day by Bobby Taylor. And then the latest, which took 3 points, at least a chance for 3 points away from the Rams, deep inside Philly territory. Second down, Warner throws. He got his tight end Ernie Conwell, who was brought down a couple of yards shy of a first down, a gain of 8. Coming up on 5 minutes left in the third quarter.
I'll tell you what, for all the changes they've had to make in that offensive line, Heath Irwin coming in, John St. Clair moving over to left tackle, a guy named Andy King, who I didn't even have on my board here today, ends up playing right tackle. They've done a decent job in there. They really have, and given Kurt Warner some time.
3rd down and 2. And around to Isaac Bruce. First down, St. Louis. Gets it up to the 39-yard line. While we watch football, we look ahead to NASCAR. Coming this February, the world's best drivers return to Fox for the 45th running of the Great American Race. The Daytona 500 drops the flag on 15 weeks of NASCAR coverage, returning this February on Fox. This will be their last chance with the win. Fourth quarter, they'll be working into it. Right now trailing by 7, and the pass is complete. That's Isaac Bruce, and he is ahead for 10 yards. Troy Vincent on the stop.
I like that play right there. You've got the play action look out of a basic run that the Rams have, where they're going to pull Heath Irwin out around the corner. It really does look like the run action. They pop back up out of it, throw it out to the flat. That's the one thing about Mike Martz in this offense. Very rarely during the course of a game will you ever see a play repeated. And Troy, I don't know how they practice it. I really honestly don't. For a new guy coming into this offense like a Troy Edwards or Terrence Wilkins, no wonder they can't pick up the offense.
Well, in fact, there's a lot of new plays that they'll put in during the week leading up to a game that they won't even have time to practice. Some of the times, the first time they'll run a new play will be in the game on Sundays.
And it's not just the plays themselves, it's all the shifts and the motions. And I tried to write down, watching the film, every single motion. You know, you start with trips, motion to double wing right, Marshall Falk in motion. By the time you write down the formations and the motions, you almost forget about the plays. And I think a lot of times defenses get tentative when they see all that.
It's one of the reasons why they struggle sometimes getting the play called, getting up to the line, and getting the play away. First down for the Rams, empty backfield, and Warner's hit as he let it go. Marshall Falk, the intended receiver. You know, timing is everything, and the timing for Warner has not been good coming back at the start of this 3-game road swing. If you look at Mark Bulger, the injury to him happening on that Monday night game with the injury to the tendon between the index and the middle finger on his throwing hand, you wonder if he were healthy. You know, Mike Martz would have a much more crucial and interesting decision to make as to whether to continue to run Kurt Warner out there.
Well, he would. On that last play, however, it wouldn't have mattered if Johnny Unitas was still here with us playing. He wouldn't have gotten that one off.
A rare run in this second half, and it's Marshall Falk. It was second down and 10, and Falk picked up 7. Michael Lewis forced him out of bounds.
You go back to the championship game a year ago when the Rams scored 29 points, I believe it was, against this Philadelphia Eagles defense. The only team, as a matter of fact, all season long to score more than 21 points. And what was it that won the game for the Rams during that championship? It was the running of Marshall Falk. It was the zone blitz by the Philadelphia Eagles, dropping people out, and Marshall Falk taking off up the field with the runs. Let's see if they're starting to get back to that now.
Play clock is down to 8. 3rd down and 3. And the pass is caught by Ricky Prohl. Second time he's made a catch today for a 1st down, and that is his role on this team. He is so valuable.
It really is. And Ricky Prohl, he makes so many clutch catches. And right here, great throw by Kurt Warner, putting it in a place that only Ricky Prohl could get to it. That was tremendous coverage. But you're right, Joe. So many times during the course of a ball game when you have to have a play, Ricky Prohl's that guy that makes it for you.
Hugh Douglas out of the lineup for Philadelphia, and a handoff to Marshall Faulk. Cris, maybe they will go back to the run a bit more. Faulk is down for a gain of 5 to the 31-yard line.
That time the Eagles came out in a 3-man line, and there were some gaps in there to run. They had the linebackers stacked in behind it. But anytime you start to see those sorts of gaps in there, I think Mike Martz is wise to go ahead and try and do it. Yeah, they've got a linebacker here, but Marshall Faulk's going to simply just run to the other side.
Adam Timmerman doing a good job of sealing off that backside there as well.
2nd down, St. Louis, 10-3 Philadelphia. The ball slips out of the hand of Kurt Warner, and he recovers it back at the 40.
Kurt Warner's face there says it all. It didn't look like anybody got to it. It just came out.
If you need any further proof that Kurt Warner's hand and his grip just simply isn't what it used to be, I just don't know that you could have more definitive proof than right there. And Troy, you know this as well as I do. When it gets cold outside, this football the National Football League uses gets very slick, and it's very hard to handle. And I think it's got to do something to do with his hand.
3rd down and 14 after that play. Douglas lost his helmet rushing the passer. Penalty flag on the play. And Faulk is down just shy of the 30, short of a 1st down. And it's going to be another penalty against St. Louis.
I think anytime you see a helmet ripped off someone's head.
Hands to the face. Number 70. Offense.
You see a helmet rolling around on the turf, you can pretty much bet that it's going to be hands to the face by an offensive lineman.
The Eagles with a bit of a decision here. The Rams would be faced with a 4th down and 4 from just outside the 30.
Watch St. Clair
accept the penalty.
St. Clair hit him to the face even after the helmet flew off. He says, I don't care. I hit you in the face one time, knock it off, and then hit you in the face again.
I think St. Clair just wants to get any piece of him that he can.
Brady might feel the same way about me. I'm going to shut up.
3rd down and 23 with the ball back near midfield. Eagles coming. Quick throw to Prohl. Penalty flag on the play. The catch made. Prohl is down, brought down at the 42, and we'll check the marker. It's an offside against Philadelphia.
4 defense lined up in the neutral zone. 3rd down.
Andy Kalu, and that'll bring up 3rd down and 18 now.
But I'll tell you what, if you take a look at Jim Johnson, the defensive coordinator, that tells you kind of what his mentality is. Here it is, 3rd and extremely long. Most defensive coordinators would play it safe, drop off, let him complete the ball underneath, come and make a tackle, and here he is bringing pressure still, blitzing 7 people.
More pressure and a sack. Andy Kalu.
I think this is the Eagles' best deployment of getting pressure. That time Andy King out there against Andy Kalu at the top of your screen, just going to simply beat him with a speed rush right around the corner. When they get in nickel and dime situations, they flop Andy Kalu to the outside, and boy is he quick off that corner.
That's the end of the 3rd quarter on that sack by Kalu. The score, Philadelphia 10, St. Louis 3. It's only a 7-point game, but it sure doesn't feel that way. The NFL on Fox will continue after a word from your local Fox station.
You're watching the NFL on Fox.
Mark Bulger on the bench, and we repeat once again, he is the third quarterback, and really because of that finger couldn't throw the football at all in pregame warmups. He's not an option. I guess the only one is, it's Jamie Martin.
Brian Mitchell up to the 26. That's where the Eagles have it. Hakeem Akbar on the tackle. Philly with the lead and the football. It has been a day for the defense really on each side. The only touchdown belongs to Bobby Taylor, the Eagles cornerback. And it's been a day of turnovers, a total of 8. 5 by the Rams. They've also been dropping passes thrown by Kurt Warner. And A.J. Feely throws Pinkston with a catch and a first down. The turnovers today. That one just slipping out of the hands of Kurt Warner. This one into the hands of Bobby Taylor. Lamar Gordon coughed it up. Interception by Vincent. But the Eagles have turned the ball over today 3 times. A.J. Feely started it with a fumble. Westbrook with the last giveaway. The Rams led the league in giveaways last year, but it's a different story when you're scoring 30 points a game. The Rams have only 3 points on the scoreboard today, and Feely and the Eagles need a timeout. They have a first down. It's a 10-3 score. Philadelphia on the board first with a Bobby Taylor interception return for a touchdown. Traded field goals since then. And A.J. Feely, who has been nothing if not looking confident out on the field with wings to the bench and pumping his fist in the air, is back under center with a first down for Philadelphia. Handoff is to Dorsey Levens. And Levens is brought down just shy of the 45-yard line, a gain of 7. Let's go out to Los Angeles into the game break. Here's JB.
A career-high day for Garrison Hurst. This 1-yard TD run is his 3rd on a day, capping a 10-play, 94-yard drive. 3 touchdowns on the day, 8 total of the season for Garrison Hurst. 31-10. San Fran back to Joe Buck.
Well, the Rams telling us yesterday, if San Francisco loses to Seattle or Arizona and we win out, we'll end up in the playoffs. The key of it was if we win out, and right now the Rams are not doing anything to help their cause here in Philadelphia as we play in the 4th quarter. In the NFC, the top 6 make the playoffs now. The 4 division winners, then 2 wild card teams. That's a change from a year ago. And the 2 wild card teams at the moment, Atlanta and New Orleans. Remember, New Orleans plays tonight at home against Tampa Bay.
I'll tell you what, Andy Reid, you have to give him a lot of credit to go to San Francisco and knock off the 49ers with your backup quarterback, and then come in here against a Rams team, winners of 5 of 6 with your 3rd-string quarterback. Pretty impressive.
3rd down and 3. A.J. Feely throws, and it's caught. Freeman, first down inside the 40. What a throw by A.J. Feely, and a big first down for Philadelphia.
I'm not sure how he was able to even catch that ball. There were a lot of Rams around Antonio Freeman, but A.J. Feely comes back off of play action and just tries firing it in there. Antonio Freeman coming up, gets away with a little bit of a push there. Pretty good coverage, actually, but Freeman's able to get away and pick up a key first down.
I think Cris brings up a good point, though. When you do what you do with McNabb, and then Detmer has the kind of start he had last week, and now Feely's been good enough. Philadelphia with a 7-point lead in the 4th quarter, and Feely's made some good throws. I think the focus has to go back to the sideline and the job that Andy Reid does with this Eagles team.
I think the focus has to go to Andy Reid and what he's done as far as calling the plays and putting these quarterbacks in a position to have success. I also, as I mentioned earlier, has to go to Brad Childress, the offensive coordinator / quarterback coach, who does a great job of meeting with these quarterbacks and really focusing in on what it is that they need to do. And as he told A.J. Feely going into this game, if you just don't turn it over, make good decisions, we'll be fine. And that's what he's done.
Feely turned it over early. The Rams did not turn it into points. Feely throws, and it's Freeman with a catch. Third down coming up for Philadelphia.
Well, it's been such a great addition to this football team to have Antonio Freeman, who had all those great years with the Green Bay Packers. You talk to Andy Reid, you talk to these coaches with the Eagles, they will tell you, and of course Andy was with them in Green Bay as well, that this guy is the best slot receiver that they've ever seen. And when you're in a West Coast offense, you have to have somebody. This is the guy that does the hot reads. This is the guy that you rely on for the first downs. A huge addition for the Eagles.
Rams showing blitz. They come on it. Feely pulls it back, makes the completion for the first down. That's the tight end Lewis. The ball comes out at the end of the play, and the Rams have recovered.
Wow.
Whitley comes away with a football as Chad Lewis coughed it up.
Well, Herring's coming, but Chad Lewis gets a little jam on him. He gets the ball. He's got a chance to set him up for a great position going in. Again, they just cannot hang on to the football.
Rams take over at their own 10, down by 7. In case you're wondering, there's the ball coming out before the left knee of Chad Lewis hits. It is a fumble forced by Bly, recovered by Whitley, and the Rams have it down by 7. Marshall Faulk trying to bounce it to the outside, and he does not have his usual burst today. And A.J. Feely during the break was begging the replay booth here in the stadium to run the replay on the scoreboard so that fans and players on the bench alike could get a look at this replay.
And that's why I think A.J. Feely's going to be fine for however long it is that he has to play quarterback for this team, because not a lot of young quarterbacks are going to be that emotional, that enthusiastic about the game and want to see replays, that type of stuff. The fact that he's as into it as he is says to me that he's got what it takes to make it.
4 seconds on the play clock. It's second down. And it's Conwell. They set up a little screen for Conwell, who fights his way to the 15, 5 yards shy of a first down.
I just wonder how many screen passes Mike Martz has in his arsenal. They have about 20-25 different ways that they can throw a screen, and they're so subtle with them. That time just a single blocker out in front of Conwell to lead the screen. Right now it's a huge play in the ball game, though. Really, Kurt Warner needs to make a play to keep this drive alive.
Third down and 5. Warner is hit. The ball comes out. And it's recovered by St. Louis. N.D. Kalu with another hit on Warner.
Well, here's the problem. The Rams are only going 3- and 5-step drops. On that one, Kurt went 3 steps. It doesn't give him much room, and he cannot hang on to the ball. N.D. Kalu comes around the tackle. Again, Andy King. And because Kurt does not get rid of the football on time, it gives N.D. Kalu an opportunity to come in from the backside and make that tackle.
Bobby Taylor made the play in the secondary. He saw the slant, he wheeled late, and was right in front of the play.
Beautiful punt by Berger into the wind. Best punt of the day. It sends Mitchell back to the 35, but room to run. Penalty flag on the play as Mitchell is forced out of bounds near the Ram 40. I think it's fair to ask the question, though. If Mike Martz were faced with a decision of Kurt Warner or a healthy Mark Bulger, the decision might be different than what he's faced with now, which is Kurt Warner or Jamie Martin, because that's a situation.
I don't think it's even close.
Holding during the return, 10 yards, first down.
Just to finish my thought, I think Mark Bulger would have been in the game long ago, probably started this game.
Philly has the ball and the lead. After the Chad Lewis fumble at the St. Louis 10, the Rams got it. They go 3 and out. N.D. Kalu has made his presence felt, working a lot on Andy King today, and now the Eagles have the ball outside their own 30 at the 32. Feely throws and another drop, and we've seen that on each side all day. This time it's thrashed.
Watch Bobby Taylor right here. As soon as the receiver comes out in the flat, he's going to wheel right back in front of the slant, tie that up, and that was the reason Kurt Warner had to hold the football. Taylor already with a touchdown today on an interception, making a huge third down play there.
Second down and 10 for the Eagles. No catch. Herring came up from the safety spot with support, and after the hit, Pinkston came down out of bounds.
Well, they tried pumping Dre Bly, but Kim Herring, when they made the pump, it brought Kim Herring that much closer to the receiver. Todd Pinkston goes up and tries making one heck of a catch, unable to bring that one down. But you see right there the pump move. Kim Herring coming over in the way, even though he didn't put a hit on him. And Todd Pinkston, a guy who you can throw those kind of balls to, because so many times he's been able to make those plays.
Third down and 10. Feely back to throw, and it's tipped and incomplete. Good work by the rookie Travis Fisher.
Boy, it really was. Looked like he was just beaten on the play, and all of a sudden Travis Fisher came in from the backside. AJ's doing a little lobbying, is he?
Yeah, AJ Feely, he's talking to the official. He's getting into this game pretty good, pretty early in his career. But you see right there, Travis Fisher, really a nice play there of breaking up that pass.
So another Landetta punt as the Rams defense is doing all it can. Line drive, Wilkins. Terrence Wilkins just able to hold on to the ball as Brian Mitchell came from behind Wilkins and nearly knocked it out. The Rams have it at their own 30, down by 7. I got it, you take it all day long. 9 turnovers. The Rams have 5 of them. The yardage about dead even. Same for time of possession. But a defensive score, a touchdown by Taylor, has the Eagles up by 7 as Marshall Faulk gets 7. Fox tonight. Is America ready for The Simpsons on reality TV? Find out on a new episode. Then after new episodes of King of the Hill and Malcolm in the Middle comes the season premiere of Andy Richter. It all starts at 8 Eastern, 7 Central tonight on Fox.
Yeah, and that there was Marshall Faulk's longest run of the day, of the afternoon. 26 yards rushing so far today.
So they go back to Faulk, and Marshall picks up a St. Louis first down out across the 40.
Still plenty of time. I think it's a good idea for the Rams right now, because anytime you have young offensive linemen in there, and 3 of the 5 right now are either out of position or new guys to the lineup, it's a lot easier for those guys to get into a run blocking mode than it is pass blocking. We've already seen today they're clearly struggling with the pass blocking.
Marshall Faulk's return after the high ankle sprain. Not what he had hoped for. Faulk gets it for the 3rd consecutive play, and he gets it out to the 45-yard line, a gain of 4.
You could hear before that play was run, the defense was screaming backside screen when they saw Marshall Faulk in that offset position, and they still didn't stop the play.
Well, the Rams are continuing to try to slow down that pass rush and run more and more screens. They're doing everything they can to try to protect Kurt, but as I mentioned earlier, Kurt's a guy who wants to get receivers out in the routes.
Warner is sacked again. Hugh Douglas has had a big day.
Well, the Rams were always thin on their offensive line. John St. Clair was struggling from the beginning of the season, even with help from the back. Still no way to stop Hugh Douglas.
We would like to welcome those of you watching other games around the NFL. The Rams trying to stay alive in the playoff hunt, down 10-3 with just over 6 remaining in this game at Philadelphia. The day for Warner, 19 of 37. A.J. Feely making his first start for the Eagles. It's 3rd and 10. Warner in trouble and sacked again. N.D. Kalu.
That's his 7th sack today. Take a look at where Kurt was trying to go with the football, and this secondary, they're doing a good job of covering up these receivers, and then on top of that, this defensive front is doing a great job putting pressure on Kurt Warner.
Berger with another punt. Mitchell will let it bounce. And it takes a sideways bounce. Down just inside the 35. That's where the Eagles take over with under 5.5 to play. How about the day for N.D. Kalu? 4 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. The former Redskin and 6th-year player out of Rice. Part of a big effort today defensively by the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles up by 7. Feely going to throw. Andy Reid certainly isn't shy. The pass is complete. Penalty flag on the play as James Thrash gets the reception, brought down at the 49-yard line, and will check the marker. 16-yard completion. The Rams are indicating it's against Philadelphia. Bob McElwee is our referee.
The receiver went out of bounds, came back in, and illegally touched the ball. That's a 5-yard penalty, first down.
See right there, James Thrash going out of bounds. He then cannot be the first player to touch the ball. But what a nice job that offensive line does for the Eagle, or for A.J. Feely, giving him some time to throw that football. He's getting the protection that Kurt Warner is not.
Boy, and everything that could go wrong for A.J. Feely today, it's like Darwin Walker may have been injured, has gone wrong. You know, he really has caught no breaks. Every time they've made a big play on offense, it's been called back for a penalty.
Well, that's a big one. Instead of a first down up at their own 49-yard line, they have the ball inside the 30. Hitting it hard is Dorsey Levens. The only touchdown today belongs to the Eagles defense. An interception by Bobby Taylor, his first touchdown of the season. It was 7-0, then 10-0. The Rams made it 10-3 right before the half. And with 4:38 and counting, the Rams needing a defensive stop. They have 2 timeouts left. 2nd down and 8, and this is a reverse to Thrash. And a terrific play by Travis Fisher, who came flying across the field to make the stop.
That was a great job by Travis Fisher, just pursuing the ball carrier, coming all the way across the field in order to make that play. You see him, he's in man-to-man coverage. That's what got him over there to begin with. And if Travis Fisher doesn't make the play, Thrash is going to go for a pretty good distance, because Todd Pinkston was doing a good job blocking his guy.
How fast you think he is in the 100 meters?
Wow.
Faster than me.
And me. 10-2. 10-200 meters. That's pretty quick.
It showed. 3rd down and 5. And a toss. It's Thrash again. And another good play in the open field. This time it's Wistrom. Well, another first down saving tackle.
Yeah, Grant Wistrom right there just may have saved the Rams season. At least they're going to give him one more opportunity. Wistrom really had an opportunity to be sucked down inside. Gets off the block of Feely and comes back and makes the play. Huge effort on 3rd down.
And how about the job this Rams defense has done today? Playing outstanding.
Landetta with his best of the day. Wilkins. Terrence Wilkins gives the Rams field position at their own 25. You saw the statistics a little earlier. 18 times Warner has been hit today. Sacked 7 times. That's a career high. 4 times by N.D. Kalu. He's thrown 2 interceptions. But yet he and the Rams are still alive in this game, down by 7, as they have it at their own 25.
Yeah, I think that's the big key, is the fact that they're still in this ball game. And I know I had a lot of days like this here at this stadium, and this is a defense that just gets into a frenzy when they start putting pressure on the quarterback. That's what's happening right now with Kurt Warner.
Warner looking for somewhere to go with it. Sacked for the 8th time today. Brandon Whiting.
You know, not only are the Philadelphia Eagles outstanding with their pass rush, they are almost that good in their secondary. Time after time today, we have seen coverage sacks. Not to take anything away from these guys. Marshall Faulk's trying to get out of the backfield. We started seeing this in the Super Bowl last year against the Patriots. Teams simply are not going to let him get out because he can create too much offense.
Working into the wind, 2nd down and 16 for St. Louis. Warner over the middle, Holt incomplete. Too high and a bit behind him. 3rd and 16.
I'll tell you what, I'm watching this, and there's just really nowhere for Kurt Warner to throw the football. There are very few seams in this defense. He's not able to get the ball there, but there's just nowhere for him to throw the football.
While everyone talks about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and their record at 9-2, the Eagles with a win could go to 9-3 today. They defeated Tampa Bay earlier in the season, and the Buccaneers are at New Orleans tonight. Warner dumps it off. Marshall Faulk way short of a 1st down. Brought down at the 29-yard line, where it'll be 4th down. And the Rams, with 2 timeouts remaining, are going to punt.
Well, that time Jim Johnson gave an entirely different look defensively. He went more to a prevent defense, covering up the outside receivers and then playing a 3-deep coverage behind it. The only chance Kurt had was to go to Marshall Faulk to try to get that 1st down.
Another good punt from Berger. Fair catch called for by Mitchell. And a smart thing by the veteran, making sure he caught the football, hung on to it, and that's where the Eagles have it at their own 31, up by 7. Next week, a big one. The Falcons at the Buccaneers early after Fox NFL Sunday, which starts at 12 Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And then late, the Eagles at the Seahawks. Also the Saints and Ravens, the Lions and Cardinals. Check your local listings for the game near you.
Perfect play by the Eagles defense, just surrounding Marshall Faulk, giving him nowhere to go. I mean, that's the General Custard look right there.
There will be a chance for the Rams, in essence, to stop the clock 3 times with a 2-minute warning and with their 2 timeouts. A couple of 1st downs could ice it for Philadelphia. From their own 31. On the ground, and Deuce Staley gets up to the 34, a gain of 3, and the Rams will use one of their 2 remaining timeouts. 2nd down for A.J. Feely in Philadelphia. There are the miscues today. You think about when Donovan McNabb went down, the Eagles and their fans thought, well, we're in trouble down the stretch. There's no way they'll win at San Francisco. They did. So far, the defense has given up only 20 points the last 2 weeks. The Giants lost again today as Staley fights and gets a 1st down. And with a win today, the Eagles will have a 3-game lead in the NFC East and will have a legitimate chance at home field advantage throughout the playoffs because of the play of the defense and a couple of backup quarterbacks.
I tell you what, though, that's ridiculous on the part of the Rams defense. They have 9 guys on the line of scrimmage and still can't stop the run.
And now we're out of timeouts with 2:13 left. The Eagles trying to pound their way to a victory here today. Don't forget the Autotrader.com postgame show coming up. Gets you up to date on what happened today across the NFL. Grant Wistrom came across. We'll see if this is against Philadelphia or St. Louis.
Well, the Eagles are signaling that it's going to be against the Rams.
Encroachment, 98, defense, 5 yards, first down.
Thomas is saying, I've had enough procedure calls against me.
There's Thomas, and he definitely flinched. Blown call by the officials.
You could see the reaction by Thomas because he just got away with one. 1st and 5. The next play should take us to the 2-minute warning. Eagles line up in an I formation and hand to Staley. To the line of scrimmage, that's it. And to the 2-minute warning we go. 2 minutes left. The Eagles in control, leading the Rams 10-3. Look at what's sitting there now for the Philadelphia Eagles on their way to 9-3 if they hang on here. 7-0 in the conference. Tampa Bay will play tonight at New Orleans with the best record in the NFL at 9-2. But again, head-to-head matchup. Philadelphia defeated Tampa Bay here earlier this season. And the schedule for the Eagles gets easier as they go. 2nd down and 5. Staley is wrapped up by Polley behind the line of scrimmage. Let's go to Los Angeles. Another game break. James Brown is standing by.
Hey, Joe, and let me show you how Seattle's trying to get back in this. Matt Hasselbeck dropping back, hooking up with Corn Robinson, 15 yards for the score. 31-17 now, San Fran. Time permitting, we'll take you to that contest. Back to Joe, Troy, Chris, and Pam.
Rams have no timeouts remaining. Thank you, JB. Clock is running. It's 3rd down and 7. They'll take the play clock down. See how savvy the rookie is. 2 seconds left on it. Deuce Staley gets to midfield. It'll be 4th down. And a punt coming up from Philadelphia.
And Joe, one thing we have to reflect on is that once again the burning of the timeouts in the first half cost the Rams. When they had the ball down on the 2-yard line, they didn't have the ability to take that timeout. Now, one of them was a challenge where they had to burn a timeout. I think they actually had burned a second one at that point. Sometimes playing in these close games, those types of decisions and those issues that the Rams have had in the past can come back to haunt you.
Will get the ball back with under 30 seconds left in the game and no timeouts remaining, needing a touchdown. Wilkins with about 7 green jerseys lined up in front of him gets to the 30, lost the football and ended up back on top of it. Well, you saw the stat. The last time the Rams didn't score was December 3rd, 2000 in Carolina, a game which Warner came back from injury, started a cold day in Carolina, and he had a terrible day. They lost 16-3, and if the Rams fail to win here today, they'll be 0-6 with Warner at quarterback starting this season.
That's hard to believe, and of all the things that could have happened to this Rams team coming into this season, who would have thought that we would be discussing the quarterback situation like we have been?
Watch the trick play here. If the Rams have one in their arsenal, they need it right now.
They've been working on one with Troy Edwards during the week. As Warner steps up, fires, and it's incomplete. Torrey Holt, the intended receiver. The Rams had been 35-8 from 1999 to 2001 with Warner at quarterback. They'll be 0-6 this season if the miraculous doesn't happen here in Philadelphia.
And it's amazing to think the last time Kurt Warner won a football game at quarterback was the championship game against these Eagles last year.
More pressure. Warner out of trouble. Over the middle. There's only 7 seconds remaining. There's no doubt that Kurt Warner deserves a big part of the credit for helping to turn this franchise around. He got him to a Super Bowl. He's won a Super Bowl, a league MVP twice, a Super Bowl MVP. But when you start talking about a hand that's been a chronic problem, a guy that was banged around in the Arena Football League, and it's been a problem for the last couple of years now, you look down the road at the future, and it doesn't look too bright for Kurt Warner because of these problems.
Yeah, but Joe, I think every guy on this team has to take a look in the mirror and see what they can do themselves to correct the situation, because this has not all been Kurt Warner's fault.
Warner heaves it. It is incomplete, and this game is over. It belongs to the Philadelphia Eagles.
What a job by Andy Reid coming in here against the Rams team that had won 5 of 6 and knocking these guys basically out of the playoffs with a 3rd-string quarterback after winning in San Francisco with a 2nd-string quarterback.
A lot of credit goes to the coaching of Andy Reid and the job he has done keeping this team together. They ride their defense again. Feely was good enough, and the Eagles get their 9th win of the year. We'll take a break. Pat Summerall, Brian Baldinger, and the 49ers Seahawks coming up. Back after this as the Eagles get their 9th win of the year. It's a 10-3 victory for the Philadelphia Eagles. This is Joe Buck for Troy Aikman, Cris Collinsworth, and Pam Oliver. So long from Philadelphia. We go to San Francisco. Seahawks and 49ers. Here's Pat Summerall and Brian Baldinger.